Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. The topic of off-grid power is something I am very passionate about. I find it very interesting and exciting, and I like experimenting with different ways to provide power without having access to, say, municipal electricity. However, it can be a very expensive prospect. But stick around for this video because I'm going to show you how to get a solar generator for less than half the cost of the typical products that are on the market. In the last couple of weeks, a company called Aferiy reached out to me and wanted me to try out one of their new products. And let me tell you something, I am super excited about trying this and bringing it to you because the name of this channel has always included the word budget in it. And I know that sometimes the gear that we show is not always in everybody's budget, but this piece kind of is. Now, one of the issues that always comes up when it comes to off-grid power by using solar generators is they tend to be really expensive. In fact, the standard for a long time was $1 per watt hour. So if you were buying a 1,000 watt hour system, you were paying $1,000 for it. The prices have started to come down a little bit, but I've got to show you guys something that is going to save you a ton. Now, Aferiy wanted me to test out the Aferiy P210 2400 watt 2048 watt hour power station. That's right, 2048 watt hours. At 2048 watt hours, there's not a whole lot we're not going to be able to do with this. Now, another thing that was really nice was when they asked me to do this, I asked them if this unit could be hooked up to any old solar panel or if they had a proprietary solar panel, and they volunteered to send me one of theirs. So they also sent a 200 watt solar panel for me to hook up to this thing. So let's take a closer look and see what it is that this power source has that makes it so special. So the P210 has 2400 watt AC pure sine wave inverter and a 2048 watt hour large capacity. It works with an app so you can control it through Bluetooth. It'll recharge from 0 to 100% in 2 hours by using your AC input. The unit powers itself from a LiFePO4 battery with 4,000 plus life cycles, which basically means that after 4,000 cycles, you're still going to expect 85% performance out of this thing. There's 4 ways to recharge it. You can charge it through AC, solar, a car adapter, or by using AC and solar at the same time. It has 16 outputs for multiple devices. It has 6 110 outlets, 2 USB outlets, and 4 USB-C outlets, with 1 being powered at 100 watts. You also have a 12 volt style outlet, as well as 2 12 volt 3 amp outlets, as well as a 12 volt XT60X1 outlet. On the front here we have the power button that turns everything on. We have a very large clear display on the front that shows us our power level, our output, and our input, as well as a readout that shows how long it will run at the current load. There's a light on the front that can be set either as a steady light or as a flashing light. On the input side, we have our AC 110 input as well as a DC XT90 input for hooking up with solar panels. On top, we have these handles to make for easy grip and handling. And then right in the middle, there's something that I think is absolutely brilliant. There's a hatch that holds all of your cords and accessories when they're not in use. In the package, you're going to get, of course, the unit itself. You're going to get your warranty. You're going to get your instruction manual. There is a pouch that comes with all of your cables and a dust cover. All of that you get for less than half the cost of the competitor's machine. I know a lot of people have brand loyalty when it comes to solar generators, but this one is definitely worth the try just based on the pricing. The overall build quality, I'm highly impressed with so far, but we do have to put it through some tests. We need to find out what this thing is going to be capable of to see what we can sustain using just this unit. Now, one of the things that I like about the way this one is structured is you can use this as a UPS device, an uninterrupted power supply. If you have a computer that has to stay running, or let's say you have some biomeds or something like that that has to stay in a refrigerated environment and you can't risk your refrigerator going out during a power outage, you can hook this up in line, and if the power goes out, there will be no lag. It will immediately pick up and start running whatever you've got it plugged into. But I think the important thing is we got to see what this thing's going to power, because honestly, with the load that this thing's supposedly capable of, we should be able to run everything that's in this teardrop camper and be able to maintain while we're camping off grid. But what's really important is during a power outage, how are we going to get by with this? What's it going to provide for us? What's it going to take to get it charged back up? And how long can we go using our important devices while the power's out? Let's test it out and let's find out. We're going to see what we can run with this, for how long, and what's it going to take to overload it? Not to mention what happens when we do overload it. Is it going to blow up? Is it going to release smoke? Only one way to find out. So let's get to testing. All right, so the first thing we're going to test, we're going to do something very simple to start off. We're going to plug in some things into these USB outlets and see what this thing's capable of when we're doing the kind of things that most people would do on a regular basis. So we're going to plug in my phone charger. We're going to plug in my iPad. We're going to plug in the watch. Let's turn on the USB. Put the phone up here. The iPad. And the watch. Running all these at the same time. We are putting out a grand total of 7 watts. And at this current setup, we can run for another 99 hours charging these items up. No challenge there. But what else can we plug in here that might add to it just a little bit? Let's say we want to cook something. Let's plug in the trucker's lunchbox. This is probably going to pull a lot because anything that is electrically heated ends up pulling a lot of charge. Now you can see that we're now down to 81 hours. It's done the calculating, pulling 12 watts, and we're going to have about 81 to 83 hours under this current load. Let's plug in our DC, turn that on. See those numbers drop? We're now pulling 47, 48, 49, 50 watts. Yeah, it's going right up as this thing heats up. Now, it's going to take a little bit for this to adjust because as the trucker's lunchbox is heating up, it's going to be trying to figure out just how much it's pulling. All right, so I think it's finding its rhythm right around 83 watts going out, but we can do this for 20 hours. We can go for almost a day charging all of these and running the trucker's lunchbox. So that's not too bad. Next up, let's try something that's going to pull a little more power. Let's plug in my laptop, turn that on. So just running my laptop with no high-speed programs. If I were editing, it would be running at a lot higher power. But for now, we're not pulling much wattage, and we can go for almost 2 days with the laptop plugged in and just charging. So one of the most expensive losses you're going to take during any blackout is losing the contents of your fridge. So let's test this thing out and see if it will power my fridge and for how long. So it powers up just fine, and then it's going to have to think for a second to determine how long it can run under this load. And it's going to give me about 4 hours. It's not ideal, but you can make it work. But I've got another idea. Let me try something else. Let's try the Iceco portable fridge. This thing runs under a much lighter load, and I suspect it's going to be able to run a lot longer. I can take my vitals, put them in there, and keep them cool, and let's find out for how long. "62 hours is a pretty good run." All right, so let's see what it's going to take to overload this thing. I'm going to run some high drawing items like this heater. You know, anything that's heated electrically is going to create a serious drain on power. It's one of the most inefficient devices you can use. Running just the heater, I can go about 3 hours. That's a lot of output. But I want to see what else we can do with this. So I'm going to hook up this hair dryer. Hair dryers are another thing that draw an extraordinary amount of power. But it always seems to be that thing that the wife needs when the power's out. All right, we are down to less than an hour. Running that heater, running that hair dryer, it's going to drain this thing out quick, but it's still putting out power. We haven't overloaded it yet. Let's try something else. Let's hook up the trucker's lunchbox. Now keep in mind, that heater is still going. I'm going to turn on the trucker's lunchbox. And then we're going to fire up the hair dryer again. Now, right now we're putting out 1,937 watts. We're going to be able to do this for about 45 minutes. So let's do something else. Let's hook up a vacuum cleaner. Let's run all these things and a vacuum cleaner and see if we can kill this thing. Hair dryer's going, vacuum cleaner's going, trucker's lunchbox is going, and the heater's going. And we're still online. We're putting out 2,456 watts. It's not supposed to be able to do that. All right, we've got us a good sunny day outside. Let's hook up our solar panel and see how well this thing will charge using this 200 watt solar panel. Get everything hooked up. Strictly on solar input. We're not drawing a whole lot of power. We're around 68 watts coming in, so I think I need to turn the solar panels to where they're catching just a little bit more sunlight. All right, we're drawing over 100 watts, and it's going to take about 14 hours to fully charge. Now, of course, the most efficient way to charge this thing is on AC power. And as I said earlier, we're going to be able to charge this entire unit in less than 2 hours. It's going to think about it for a second. If you look over there on the left, it says how long it's going to take to charge. There we have it, 2 hours. All right, so there it is. I've run this thing through all kinds of tests over the last few days, and I have to say, I am extremely impressed and very satisfied with it. It's not a whole home generator, but it's about as close as you can get in this price range. Is it gonna run your refrigerator through an entire blackout? No, as long as you use it in moderation and understand that things like your refrigerator don't lose all their cooling power as soon as the power goes out, you can plug this thing in every few hours, run it for an hour, and then help sustain it a little bit longer. Now, using it with that lower powered refrigerator was definitely a viable option. It's not gonna run your central heat and air and things like that, but it's gonna get you by on the things that most people need during a short-term blackout. Like, I threw everything I could at this thing and it performed exactly as you wanted to. Now, I never could get it to overload. I ran out of power drawing devices that I could hook up to it all at once. But one thing that I have seen, I can't prove this, but I did see another reviewer do this, is that if you plug a bunch of stuff into it and it exceeds the power output capabilities of the unit, it will triage the power and turn off the power to whatever device caused it to overload, leaving the other devices powered up. Yeah, you're not going to shut this whole thing down if you overload it. You're just going to shut down whatever caused the overload. Currently, the 2,000 watt hour version of the leading brand in the industry is going for $2,000. This one here is currently on sale for $799. Now, wait, it gets better. I told you all this was a little more budget friendly than some others. Currently, the folks at Aferiy have extended a discount code for my viewers to take another $200 off of this thing. That's right, you're gonna get 2,400 watt hours for $599. I don't know that you can get much better than that. You know what the other popular brands can do, but you're also going to pay for those name brand prices. With this thing here, it's already substantially cheaper and you're going to get my discount. There's a lot of power in this little thing and it's going to go a long way toward getting you through your next disaster. So go check them out, see what you think, drop a comment down below and leave me your thoughts on going with solar generators as opposed to gas generators. That's going to be a wrap for this one. And until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. And prepare to keep the lights on. We'll see you next time.